All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. This is an amazing evening. We're so excited to be together on this Friday evening. And if you end up watching this recording, thanks for watching the recording. My name is Carrie, and I'm here representing the Life by Secret Nutrition. And our team and our organization is putting together this broadcast this evening with a very special guest, our one and only and truly magnificent genius in wellness and health and nutrition, Laura Belg. She is a certified microscopist, which is a big word, but once you start playing with it, you can figure it out. She reads your blood. Excuse me, she reads your blood. And she has an amazing microscope that she'll probably talk about. But more importantly, tonight's conversation, we've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of years, and she's educated us all in so much about nutrition and how to really maximize our food and our nutrition, right? And in ways that we probably don't think of. And one of the things that I really love and appreciate is that each time we have a different session with her, we all level up. And so tonight's session, of course, is about leveling up. All right, you guys ready for leveling up? And if this is something that you feel a value for, you can certainly put stuff in the chat if you've got questions or something you want her to talk about. But here's what's coming, man. We're excited because we have this particular professional available at our fingertips, and you guys resource as a resource, she's really been helpful for a lot of us nutritionally and balancing out our health. So a couple of things that we'll do is we'll ask her to make sure that she shares her website and phone number, because that's how you can connect with her. But tonight I want to turn it over to you, Laura. How are we leveling up? We got St. Patrick's Day around the corner, and I think you've got something green to talk about. So let's just have you share with us, and I'm going to try to put the spotlight on you. Thanks for sharing with us tonight.
Oh, yes. Thanks for having me.
You
Yeah. And
betcha.
I won't mention green beer. Yeah.
Green beer, none of that.
That's not the green I'm talking about tonight.
Okay.
So, I've helped a lot of different, folks that are in our organization. And of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are not in our organization. And I've helped people, detoxify their systems from all kinds of stuff, throughout the years. So, with that being said, of course, when we take our recovery products and so forth, and we take our greens and we take our boosters and the different products that are available to us, they're all detoxifying. And I felt, and I coach people through different cleanses that kind of add to our program and that kind of thing. And I just really felt it important to discuss a few different topics. One thing is that is kind of forgotten when it comes to cleansing is that, and I mean, I am, every day informed by people how well researched they are. So here's something that is very researchable: is that it is mandatory to have friendly bile in order to detoxify the system. Okay. So a lot of the cleanses that people go on or do, it eliminates any of their friendly bile. And so then they wonder why their cleanses kind of don't work out for them. And so any kind of cleansing that I recommend, and especially with your recovery, with the greens, and the different types of cleansing that we do, with the secret, it maintains that level of friendly bile so that you are able to detoxify, because we're always talking about detoxification, alkalizing the system, that sort of thing. And there's some things that people forget, because there's people like, oh, I can just go on the internet and do an olive oil and grapefruit and a whatever. Okay, you're losing friendly bile. It is mandatory. Google that, folks. It is mandatory to have friendly bile in order to detoxify the system. Okay, so not all of us have a lot of friendly bile, and especially if you have issues with your gallbladder, which we all do. Okay, every single one of us out there, unless we've done something about it and cleansed from it, every single one of us out there is packing around 3,000 stones. What are those stones? They are acid stones. They're in the gallbladder, they're in the kidneys, they're in the liver, they're everywhere. Okay. So, what does the recovery do? It breaks down acidity. So, it's going to help to break down those acid stones. And different methods of cleansing can help facilitate that process further even faster. So, depending on what kind of shape someone is in. So, in any event, there's only certain foods, and there's only a handful of foods really that help to build friendly bile that we need in order to detoxify our system. Greens, okay, any way you can get them, and I don't care what anybody says, I don't care about anything. You cannot, especially this day and age, get enough greens into your system. Like I learned 20 years ago that the only way for us to get enough greens into our system would be to eat 10 great big huge bowls of leafy greens every day. And I don't care which raw food institute you go to. I don't care which raw foodist you talk to, the healthiest people, what have you. Nobody is going to eat 10 bowls every day of leafy greens. It's just not going to happen. So that's one really great thing about having, oops, geez, everything's falling apart here. That's one really great thing about having the greens in order to supplement with, because it makes it fast, it makes it easy. We can just throw them back and then that's it, and then we've gotten all the healthy greens that we need for our day. So, and depending on where your health is at depends on how many greens you need, just like anything else. What we have as a system here, we pretty much, with the exception of a few things, have everything we're ever going to need in our life right here. Okay, but if you're taking 5 recovery a day, you're not going to get where you want to be. Okay. If you're taking 2 greens capsules a day, you're not going to get where you want to be. Okay. It's not just about what we eat, because everybody always goes back to what they eat. Your health is composed of a lot more than just what you eat. Okay. It's composed of the things that are in your environment. It's composed of stress levels. It's composed of a lot of things. But everybody always wants to go back to what they've been eating. And there's so much more of a bigger picture than that. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why we use supplementation. So it's very difficult for a lot of reasons to get the nutrition we need. And a lot of times it's digestive problems. That's another problem. But the secret program sets us up to be able to position our systems to receive the nutrition that we need to. Okay. And that's super, super important. So, going back to cleansing and friendly bile, there's, of course, the greens that go along with the shake, okay, that are delicious. They taste like a treat. But we need to really focus on other things. Like if you're looking to detoxify, not just to add nutrition into your daily life, you need to have that friendly bile. We need to be breaking down acidity. And I say it every day, I'll say it again today, is that if anyone knew, if everyone realized how much stuff is actually in our system and how much stuff we have been packing it around for decades, they'd be really flipped out. So when you actually get to the point of doing some serious cleansing, some real deep cleansing in your system, you're eliminating things that you've been packing around for decades, perhaps. So, and stuff will stay around as long as you don't detoxify it. It'll stay around. So if you're going to take 5 recovery for the next 3 months every day, you're never going to get to where you want to be. You need to get a little more serious about some deeper cleansing, because it facilitates you getting the results that you want. So that's why, I take higher doses of recovery. That's why I take higher doses of greens. That's why I try to remember my boosters so that I can facilitate my personal goals forward faster. So, um, the the whole thing with the greens, there are just a million reasons why we need greens. And so another thing too, and Carrie, I've sent this recipe to a lot of people, but there's a recipe for a green salad. And this recipe actually, it went viral. And there was a girl on the Today Show at the beginning of the year. Her recipe went viral. And of course, as it went viral, people mucked it up, and it's not the healthy version, but I've got the healthy version. And so maybe we can leave that in some kind of comment somewhere or something like that. But the salad is phenomenal, and it's called a green goddess salad, and it's nothing like green goddess as we know it. Okay. the this girl who she owns one of the country's top baking companies, and she just loves vegetables, and she made this salad recipe based upon pesto sauce. So it's amazing, but any way that we can squeeze our greens in, we're better for it. And this salad squeezes a lot of greens in. So I kind of feel like this salad goes along with what we're talking about tonight and making sure that we get enough greens. For years, I think a lot of us were taking maybe six, three greens capsules twice a day. And then Dr. Cohen said, no, you need to take 12. So, um, upping your greens is really going to be beneficial. It's helpful to oxygenate the system. Okay. All chronic disease, and I can tell you this from reading blood under a microscope for 20 years now, all chronic disease out there boils down to bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, or lack of a nutritional property of some type. Every single chronic disease, well, you can trace it back to one of those five issues. So, yeast hates green. It builds like a coral reef in your intestinal tract. Greens help to break that down. Greens oxygenate the cells. Bacterias hate green. Parasites hate green. Mold hates green. So this is why it's really important, but it's not just get green. We're getting the highest quality greens you could possibly purchase, you know? And I've done blood for many, 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 many years, going into 2 decades for raw food institutes all over this country. I'm an ambassador for the Hippocrates Institute. And I can tell you the number one food everybody's trying to get as much as they can in their system at any raw food institute. Uh, and I mean, it costs a lot of money to learn about these things. And I will tell you, everything is about the greens. When I'm at a Hippocrates and I go to Wigmore Hall, where everybody eats, okay? Anne Wigmore, she was the mother of raw foods in this country. God bless, rest her soul. She died in a fire back in the 70s. She is the reason why we have sprouts in our grocery stores. What do we have in our shake? Sprouts. Okay. So I want to kind of go over this a little bit because I don't think that a lot of people out there really understand. And I like to talk about things that are kind of like off the beaten path a little bit, things that aren't regularly discussed, because there is a much bigger picture to everyone's health than just, well, I'm gonna, just alkalize and that's it, and focus on that. There is a bigger picture, and I want to be of help, and that's where my heart is, to help people the best to my ability. And sometimes maybe I don't always explain things in a way that everyone can understand it or everyone can hear it, but I certainly try. So I want to talk about things and point things out that people are curious about, they have questions about, and help us to develop the big picture so that we can have optimal success with our program. Okay. Sprouts are something like we just kind of read it on the shake. Okay, sprouted quinoa, sprouted millet. Why are there sprouts in our shake? It's the same reason why we need sprouts. And I know that I have a lot of people, and it's come up a couple of times lately, but I've had people ask me this question a lot throughout the years. They'll say, I'm allergic to rye, or I'm allergic to wheat, or I've had testing, allergy testing, which I just am a big fan of. And I'm allergic to let's say quinoa or millet or alfalfa. Um, or rye or wheat. When they test you for that, they test you for the whole grain, not the sprout. A sprout is different. So I think that, I saw a lot of great pictures during the Club Fit Challenge, and I saw a lot of people making some really fabulous food. One thing I didn't see on top of anybody's food were sprouts. Sprouts are amazing. They're like probiotics for your gut. Okay. So when something is sprouted, what it means is that it has retained its nutrition. Okay. So I was kind of curious about this week, and I decided to Google. Okay. what is the difference between regular wheat and wheat sprout? Okay, since everybody seems to know a lot about this, okay, I don't think maybe I've explained it well. So, first off, the main difference, so I decided to Google it because I've known what the difference was for 20 years. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm not explaining it well. So, the main difference between sprouted wheat and whole wheat is that sprouted wheat tends to contain more nutrients than whole wheat. Okay, they're not one and the same. Sprouting starts some chemical changes in the grains. Okay, it's not the same. It goes for wheat, it goes for rye, it goes for quinoa, it goes for any of those constituents. Therefore, sprouted wheat tends to have more vitamins and less starch. Starch is what causes yeast and bacteria than whole wheat. So it's that way for every grain. Sprouts are the most fabulous thing that we could ever put into our body, along with the greens, of course. Sprouts are something that are kind of overlooked. So we kind of look at the ingredients to our nutritional shake and we're seeing sprout. Well, that's a big part of the component. That's where all the nutrition is. And it's just amazing. It's amazing that we have a shake that is at the price point it is, that has all the nutrition that it has. I can buy something with synthetic nutrition in it, pay more, and be harming myself. So, the whole idea behind taking supplements or drinking a shake and trying to get nutrition into the body, or taking a supplements or trying to get nutrition into the body. Okay. If you are consuming a shake that is synthetic nutrition, which 9.999 out of 10 protein shakes out there are synthetic nutrition. Synthetic nutrition becomes stored by the liver and it causes problems in the long term and quite frankly in the short term. Like when I can see that in the blood, I see literally it cracks the cell walls. Synthetic nutrition, I see it crackling. That can't be good when I look at a cell and it looks like that. So it's damaging to the cell, it's damaging to the liver. We don't want anything to be stored by anything, okay, unless it's greens and it's good. Outside of that, we don't want any storage of anything. We want things to expel from our body, okay?
Question.
So
Take a breath.
synthetic nutrition is stored, it becomes damaging. So the whole process of trying to supplement to get nutrition into our physiology, that just kind of goes to the wayside. We're not accomplishing what we want to accomplish. So we're wasting our time, we're wasting our energy, and we're definitely wasting our money.
Got it. Got it. Can I ask? There's a question in the field here. Do you find people with gluten sensitivities can handle the sprouted bread, like the Ezekiel bread we talked about earlier?
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Thank
Okay,
you,
because
Sue.
here's another thing that I Googled to make sure I'm explaining it correctly. Okay, so how it says right here, okay, for you folks that love to Google. However, sprouted grain bread has some advantages over whole grain breads. Okay, it is lower in carbs, higher in protein and fiber, and may be easier to digest. Sprouted grain bread is also lower in gluten, okay, and anti nutrients. That's why when you see that things are sprouted, they are next to gluten free. Okay, I mean, there's like traces, you know. Let's see, and the anti-nutrients, and it has a lower glycemic index compared to regular breads, which means that it does not pump insulin out of the pancreas, which that's what unfriendly carbohydrates do. So we don't want that insulin being pumped out the pancreas, it overflowing into the blood, the blood not being able to handle, you know all of the syrup. So that's why that happens. Also, let me see here. Let me see what else. Okay. The sprouting process increases the level of available antioxidants in cereal grains. So they're much higher in antioxidants. Normally, Up to 90% of polyphenols are unavailable for use in the body. However, sprouted makes them more accessible. So it's more accessible to have the polyphenols.
Okay, talk about that, please. Why? That is so huge, and people don't know what that is.
Okay, let me sum it up, and I won't need to talk much about it. Antioxidants known as polyphenols are especially important because they inhibit the inflammatory process. Here, so sprouts bring down inflammation.
Love it. Love it.
And
Love
greens
it.
do the same thing.
Hack of the day. Get your sprouts.
Right. So that's the whole thing. And then the next article on Google was Ezekiel bread. Is it good for you? WebMD. It goes right there and it discusses all those things because it is sprouted grains. That's what we want. We want the whole problem, okay, with our foods is that they're so processed and we've been unable to retain our nutrition in foods. And that's what makes our shake so valuable. It has retained its nutrition from the constituents in it. We need nutrition to do everything for our bodies to operate on every level, to grow our hair, to lose the weight, to run, to walk, to bend our fingers. I mean, no matter what we do, we need nutrition in order to do that. To think, and nutrition is what's lacking from our foods, and that's why one of the many reasons why people obtain chronic disease. They're not getting the nutrition they need. So we have a society of people out there walking around with wrecked digestive systems from all the stress we intake on a daily basis for decades at a clip, and it just goes unaddressed for years and years. Well, any issue that goes unaddressed in your physiology, what's going to happen? It's going to grow. It doesn't have anything to do with getting older. It's going to grow. It's just time has passed.
It's so funny. Talk
No,
about people think that's a sign of aging.
it's probably going to be a little dirty.
Yeah.
Time has passed. Not
Yeah.
5 years, 5 years. Right. Yeah. I
I
mean,
love that. So take a pause for a moment. This is a good pause moment. I mean, you guys, are you loving this? I mean, as we age, this is great content, right? It is. I don't. I mean, I've heard about polyphenols and I know how important they are, but she just laid it out so much more. We have to understand how important and how valuable this is. This is a time. If you got a question, throw it down there in the chat. For real. Thank you, Sue, for asking that question because for all these years that we've been buying the Ezekiel bread for Oscar, I've never eaten it because I thought it had gluten, or I was, because I'm gluten intolerant. So I never really paid attention. I just buy it for him, right? So now I know I can probably eat that and not have an issue if I really want it. I'm pretty stoked
oh,
about it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I've never known anyone who was sick from eating sprouted grains. It doesn't happen. I've never known
Love it.
anybody that was sick from taking greens. It doesn't happen.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Those are the kind of things that we need to be consuming more of. So that's the whole thing. The With the Ezekiel bread, a lot of times what it does because it's so fibrous. So sometimes when people eat it, they can feel a little bloated because the fiber's trying to chip away at maybe a blockage they may have. It's trying to chip away stuff on the walls of the colon. That's what fiber does. Fiber's kind of trying to get you to move, and it's trying to get all of the toxins out of your system. So that's what it does. You want to eliminate well. So, you know, it just when I look at the ingredients in on our shake, it just always blows me away because we are, and I say it every day, we are blessed to know about these products. We're really, really blessed because I think that I mean, I was in this business. I think I got with Secret 8 years ago. Before it was Secret, and I was with 7.2, and I've been with Dr. Cohn for 8 years. But long before that, I was doing everything, doing the blood for Raw Food Institutes, working for this one, that one, and that was the whole point of contention, and I say it to this day, and I'm going to be doing a lot of discussing about this on my show on Bravo, is that we just are not getting nutrition, and then we wonder why our bodies fail us. Even if you feel that you don't have the time to dehydrate kale chips, or juice some greens today, you know with the nutrition that you're getting in the shake is just unparalleled. But we really need to throw the kitchen sink at our nutrition. And when we can have a really easy way to do that, like with the greens, like with the shake, I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I mean, I always try to like educate my clients and give them different recipes, okay? Because an alkaline diet is very similar to a raw foods diet. Okay. And all raw foods means is that it hasn't been heated over 117 degrees. They are both anti inflammatory diets, but I hate to call them a diet. And I hate to say that word because it's just really how you need to be eating for life. So it's an alkaline lifestyle, it's a raw foods lifestyle, it's not a diet. So forgive me there. But it's like one and the same. So, you know, when you do like quinoa is alkaline, okay, and I noticed that a lot of the people in a lot of the groups, because I see a lot of people all across the board with Secret and a lot of different groups, and I see a lot of people wanting to, eat rice. They ate rice with their chicken or rice with their this, during the Club Fit Challenge, and I thought, well, why aren't they eating quinoa? Because rice is like, some types of rice are really on the border of being alkaline, and it's got some fiber in it, but we're not eating the rice that comes straight from a field in Thailand. That's not the rice we're getting. Now, there is a type of rice which is, it's called flattened rice, and it's called it's not poi, it's po. And you can find that kind of it really, like, weird places. It's certain, I think they sell it in the Indian stores, because over in India they eat it. So, and it's called flattened rice, and that's pretty good. But that's one of the reasons why Dr. Cohn put quinoa sprouts in the shake, is because quinoa is extremely healthy. So it is the mother grain that was cultivated down in South America, and it is a grain that acts like a vegetable in your system, so it performs the same way, very fibrous. But it is quinoa cleans you out. I mean, it is really good for cleaning the colon walls. It's really good for cleaning up the system. And it's one of the foods that we need to be eating when we detoxify. You know, like I had a lot of people ask me, because I was at a certain place at the beginning of last year, and a lot of people asked me, Laura, how did you lose, 30 pounds last year? And I said, well, I focused on losing toxins. That's how. I didn't focus on losing weight. I care less about losing weight. I want to lose toxins, because the toxins are what created my issue. So, toxins create the inflammatory response. Toxins sometimes, facilitate weight gain. In my case, it did temporarily for a couple years. So, I had to get that under control. Um, but in any event, when it comes to bringing down that inflammatory response, aside of our diet, aside of the shake, we have the boosters to immediately start alkalizing you after you eat. So remember to take your boosters. They're just amazing. And people, the digestive system feels better. Your whole digestive system feels better when you eat different foods, you know when you eat those anti-inflammatory foods. So, there is a cleanse that I have been coaching a lot of you out there through, and I'm so very, very happy to coach people through this particular cleanse, because it coincides with taking the recovery, taking the boosters, taking our greens, okay, getting that friendly bile up in our system. And this cleanse that I have coached a lot of you through, There's a lot of similar cleanses out there, but the one that I use does not. Um, and it is the liver gallbladder cleanse by Andreas Moritz. And there are a lot of practitioners out there that are charging a lot of money to coach their clients through similar cleanses. You know, the Native Americans have their version. There's a lot of people that have their version of a similar cleanse, okay, that gets rid of stones from the liver and gallbladder. Okay. So when you do any kind of cleansing, though, you get rid of stuff from all over your body. It's not just going to be select areas of your body. It may be targeted towards that, but you're also going to um, lose toxins from different areas of your body as well. So I've coached a lot of people through this cleanse, and I happily coach people through the cleanse. Don't charge anybody anything for coaching them because I'm so happy to see people doing the cleanse. Because when we have stones accruing in our body, and unless you've done these cleanses, and unless you have addressed the stones in your gallbladder, the stones in your liver, the stones in your kidneys, you're going to have stones, period. And what they do is they basically sit there, and you're basically a ticking bomb accruing chronic disease in your system. So, when we take the recovery, you know, like I was talking about earlier this evening, is that we have and we develop acidity in our system, which can develop stones. Okay. Those stones cause inflammation. So that's why a lot of people out there think that they're overweight. They think that they're fat. They think you're not. You're inflamed. And I know that everybody has heard me say that a million times. This is a big reason why you're inflamed. You have stones. What are going to break down the stones? The recovery. Alkalizing breaks down stones, hence the alkalinity versus acidity theory. So you have acid, you break it down by alkalizing. So one of the things I have people do is I have them take higher doses of the recovery, you know, before and through their cleanses. You know, it's really, really super important, you know, and it's so innocent how we accrue acidity in our body. I mean, you could be 7 years old and be acidic. If you have a stressful childhood and you're 7, you'll be acidic. It's just so easy to develop and accrue acidity in our system. So, how does that happen? Well, walking in a nail salon, you know, breathing in chemicals creates acidity. Being stressed out, having an argument with someone creates acidity. You know, eating processed foods creates acidity. So it's just people just being living life and being innocent, doing normal stuff creates acidity. And that's one of the reasons why it was so brilliant how Dr. Cohn, you know, invented these products. And I realized these things from looking at the blood. 20 years ago, I was trained how acidity wrecks the cells. So it destroys them, it damages them. So when I first met Dr. Cohn, I mean, that's why tears came to my eyes. I just looked at him and I said, "You know what you did?" Because I realized that we had been looking forever to find a real product that really penetrated the cells. Didn't get rid of like baking soda. Everybody's researched that. There's another Google thing. Everybody's researched that, you know, on the internet. Well, that's how we get rid of this acidity. It's just very aesthetic amount of acidity that baking soda gets rid of. These are magnesium bicarbonates. They penetrate the cells, they get into the cells and alkalize the cells. That is hugely different, hugely important. If your blood cells don't look good, you're not healthy, period. So, you know, these are the reasons why we check the blood, we look at the blood, we look at the structure of the cells, we look at the color of the blood. If you do not have enough solid nutrition in your body, then the color of your blood is not going to be rich. It's not going to look it's not going to be a nice reddish, pinkish, orangish color. It's not going to have any kind of strength in the color. The size of your cells may be compromised. Most of the time, when I look at blood, people have compromised cellular health, period. The color of their cells is compromised, the shape, the size. I mean, I'm looking at everything. So, we are just ever so lucky to have this product line, to have the constituents in the shake, in the greens, the sprouts, the helping of us building that friendly bile in our system so we can detoxify in a healthy, proper way. I mean, I can't tell you how many, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years. Well, I went on this diet and that happened. I went on this cleanse and that happened. Oh, I just detoxified for parasites. Yeah, okay. Why do I see parasites in your blood? Why do I see that we still have a weight issue? Why do I see your blood pressure high? Why do I see this? It's because it's not being done properly. We have the advantage here and the benefit of using a product line that can help us to do these things properly so that we have a healthy life. One of the things I hate is going back to the same thing over and over again. Having to address the same thing over and over again, the same health issue, the same whatever it may be. And so when you're using a product line like this, you're always going in an upward trajectory, in a forward trajectory. As long as you don't change something major about your life and start eating a lot of processed foods and, taking next to no supplements every day and that kind of thing, we just need them. That's just how it is this day and age. I love it when people, like you'll hear, vegans or raw foodists and try to compare us to cavemen. Well, cavemen didn't breathe in chemicals like we do on a daily basis. Cavemen didn't eat processed foods. Cavemen didn't have the stress we have. How can we possibly compare our physiology to theirs? You can't. We have to deal with what's going
Agree.
on today.
Yes,
And today, we have a lot to overcome. Today, we do.
me too. And this is awesome stuff. Are you guys enjoying this content or what, right? Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Laura. I mean, today when we spoke, you really wanted to focus on the value of sprouts, and I learned a ton, guys. I know some people do their own sprouts. Do you do sprout your own at home, your own, like sunflower sprouts, alfalfa sprouts?
And
Do you do
here's the
that?
thing: when it comes to sprouting,
Hmm.
Carrie,
Hmm.
humidity affects it. So depending on what type of environment you're in, depends
Okay,
on how if
gotcha.
and you can sprout. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes I'm not naturally a good sprouter because I'm just not. I Here's what I'm good at: reaching in my purse for cash and paying someone to sprout for me. Okay.
I'm
And
so,
I actually do sprout some at home, but really, most of the time, I will buy them from somewhere, somehow, something, because it's difficult to do that. But it's always good. Like here's a great sandwich. You can take the Ezekiel bread, and this
okay.
is one of my favorite sandwiches. You take Ezekiel bread and you put some vegan A's on it. And one of the biggest raw foodists taught me this years and years and years ago. And you put some vegan A's on it and then some hummus, then some sprouts and tomatoes, and maybe a few other vegetables. But that's a great sandwich, and it's loaded with nutrition.
Thank you. That sounds really good for lunch tomorrow. That sounds wonderful. Definitely leveling up our health with all of these tips. Does anybody have any other questions? Because we're about 40 minutes in. And in the essence of time, we wanted to open it up for questions. And I know Juliana does her own sprouting here locally in Boise. So you're going to have to do a class with us, Juliana. Maybe we'll do a Zoom with you showing us how to do sprouts in our
That
own
would be a
kitchen.
great
Wouldn't
class to
that be
have
fun?
because that's very, very valuable.
Yeah. Oh, we want to know the green goddess salad, so you better let us know what those ingredients are.
Okay. So, okay, and I have anybody who's interested in that, I have the video of the girl who did this on the Today Show for the recipe, but she says, even in the video, and I am so in love with this recipe. I'm eating this. I'm making them like 3 times a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean it makes you feel great because a lot of days that's what I eat is a big like I have this great big white porcelain bowl that I use for my salads, okay? And I will make like one of those and that's all I'll eat all day. You know, I have
Yeah.
that, a shake, maybe a little something else, but relatively that's, that'll be a day's worth of food for me is a great big salad like that, right? So what this girl does is she starts out by chopping up a head, half a head of cabbage.
Okay.
Okay. And so you've got half a head of cabbage. She puts in, and I will tell you that I do mine a little bit differently and why I do it differently because I found a couple shortcuts with a salad. So she puts in, and you could throw some sprouts like right in with the green
Sure.
cabbage. Okay. So instead of chopping up half a head of cabbage, I buy the bag of cabbage with red cabbage in it. Red cabbage is really good for your skin, really high in antioxidants. And then I find them with the radishes, with the radishes in there, and
Okay.
that's really the mix that I buy. Okay, and then I just dump it in the bowl, and then she uses cucumbers. I choose not to use cucumbers in mine, but you can throw cucumbers in there. And then she chops up some scallions, some green onions, throws those in there. So I take one bunch of scallions, I throw that in there, but I also, oh, and it's so good. I chop up a few shallots and throw that in there. And
Yum.
shallots are really, really good in this salad.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
So um,
So you don't do
another great.
cucumbers?
I don't want the cucumbers in it because I have enough crunch.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But you can throw the cucumbers in, and the girl says right in the video, if there's something you want to add, there's something you want to subtract, do it, go for it. But here's my base salad that I make.
Okay.
And the great thing about the salad is the dressing. Oh,
Okay.
it's crippling. Okay. Yeah.
Bring
And
it. Bring it.
yeah, it was, and it was an offshoot of pesto sauce, is
Oh,
what she,
okay. Okay.
um, so what you do, and I use my Vitamix because it blends everything up so well. But you use a quarter cup of olive oil.
I'm typing it into the
You put
messages,
in
you guys.
a couple of shallots. You use. She says to use 2 cloves of garlic. I use 5.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because fresh garlic, when it's fresh, it tastes very smooth. Or jarred garlic and garlic in other forms, it kind of has a bite to it. But fresh garlic is really super smooth.
Okay.
So add that.
Okay.
And then you add in, she said you can add in some nuts. And I think she adds in walnuts or pecans. And what I do is I add in raw cashews, raw cashews, and they are the milk cashews that I've talked to you guys about when making cashew cheese.
Right.
MYLK cashews, you get them on Amazon from Terrasol. So I add in just like maybe a half a handful of raw cashews. And then one of my really good friends since I was a child sent me these top of the line pecans that are raw from down south somewhere. So
Oh.
I throw in a half a handful of pecans with it. Um, and then you want to put in nutritional yeast, which is a probiotic in a bottle loaded with B vitamins. Nutritional yeast has tons of B vitamins in it.
How
Um,
much
the other
nutritional
thing,
yeast?
it's like trying to explain sprouts, trying to explain yeast. People are like, well, I'm not allowed, I thought yeast was
Oh,
bad for
same.
you. Different people, so Google that. Ah,
How much nutritional yeast?
I load it in there. So
Do you?
I'd say I'm probably about 4 tablespoons. That's probably how much I put in. Oh, this is what I also add to the salad part. I add half an avocado at least.
Oh, good, good.
So that I omit the cucumber, but I add avocado. And
Okay.
also, if you guys add cucumber stuff, I know it's overlooked a lot. Like a lot of people like English cucumber, they'll buy the big cucumbers, but actually, the baby cucumbers have the most nutrition.
Yeah, because they're smaller. They haven't sat on the vine long, 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 long time. They're just like
Right,
packed, right?
right,
Good.
right.
Okay.
Right.
So what are we missing here? I've got
Okay, so
typing it in.
olive oil, salad, garlic.
Got
I
that.
put garlic, the nuts.
Got it.
Oh, half a juice from half a lemon.
Oh, thank you. I knew there was something missing.
And then I add a little bit of water in it, just a little bit, like maybe, maybe like less
Splash.
than a quarter of a cup, something like that. But I add just a
Oh,
little bit of water in there just to kind of thin it out a little bit.
okay. And that's
Uh,
it? And that sounds delish. Boom.
yes, and you blend
There
it
it
up,
is.
toss the whole salad in it. I'm trying to think of what else was in there. Oh, she used 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar in it.
Oh, okay. So lemon plus the vinegar, huh?
Yes, yes, and it kind of gives it kind of a little heat. Now, you can also use apple cider vinegar.
Sure, sure. I was going to ask you. Okay.
It's not that much rice vinegar.
Okay.
Uh, I have some rice vinegar to use up, so I've been using the rice vinegar.
What about a balsamic?
I'm so sorry.
What about a balsamic vinegar?
I don't think that would add the right taste.
Okay. Just
I would
curious.
use either apple cider or rice vinegar with it.
It sounds
This
delicious. Now, this is
is way healthier. So, use either. I'm just trying to use up my rice vinegar right now, but that's what she got.
awesome. Anybody, do you not put, you don't add quinoa to this one?
You what?
Do you add quinoa to this or no?
No, no, no.
Just
Mm-mm.
this. Okay. Sounds delicious.
And you blend it up, and then after you blend up the dressing, then you toss the salad in it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think.
Ooh. Who's
Yeah.
up for the weekend of a new salad, huh?
Ah,
Love it. Great
I,
hacks,
you
great
know what?
tips.
I'm rarely turned on to foods. I'm always the one turning everybody else on to foods. And it was like revolutionary to me at the beginning of the year when I learned about this salad. It was life changing. I make it all the time now. It is, and what I like about the salad is that it's satiating. Not a lot of people feel like their salads are satiating, and this one actually is. So, I find it just, you're full.
That's awesome, awesome. And I know this is definitely modifiable and the different things for what other people like. If they want to heat it up, they could do crushed red pepper, whatever. That's not going to hurt, right? They want to add
You
cayenne or
could, you
something.
could put, if you like, I don't like heat with my food. I like spice. I just don't like heat.
Got
So,
it.
you could put some cayenne pepper in the dressing, like a
What
little
about
bit of,
some like Jamaican jerk? Some
but I'll tell
jerk?
you what, the shallots heat it
Yeah.
up.
Oh, they do heat it up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to try it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
What?
this is the other thing too. Sorry. Puts in, I put in a little parsley.
Oh,
She
right.
puts in, what screen she puts in it? Chives.
Is it?
Puts chives. I put parsley in mine.
Is she? What
Um,
about basil?
Basil, that's what it was. That's the most important ingredient. The
Because
basil.
you did say pesto, and I see the olive oil and the garlic and the nuts. I'm like, okay, where's the basil? There you go. We forgot that part.
All right.
Ah, good stuff, you guys. Anybody got any other questions or insight? Because we're going to wrap it up here in a minute, so this will be the time to do so.
Okay, so here I am forgetting the most important ingredient.
the basil.
So yeah, that's me. So basil is so anti-cancerous.
wow.
That's what I love about basil. Anytime, and that's one of the big reasons why I love this salad, because anytime that we can squeeze basil into a food, do it.
Good.
That's what I'm a big
I do
fan
a
of
lot.
pesto sauce, which I can go over my pesto sauce at some time too. But
We'll do another time.
you can, some people grow basil, you can buy basil,
Mhm.
what I like, and I'll tell you, and I know it's more expensive to do it this way, but it's really yummy tasty. I found these at Target.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen that.
Yeah, they may have these at your
All
grocery
over.
store. I
Yep.
don't know. but here's what I get, and you'll find them kind of stacked up, so they're little
Mhm.
stacks.
Mhm.
When I make this salad, I add two of these to my dressing.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, and it's already done. So I kind of shortcut
Yeah.
a few things so that I'm like dump, 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 dump,
Yeah.
and then it's not a big process to make a salad that has all those ingredients in it. But I mean,
Super
that's what
nutrient.
we want. We want to eat dishes where there's just a ton of nutrition
Yes.
packed
Yes.
into it.
I
That's
love it.
that's
Thank
when
you
you're
so much for your insight, for your education, for your oh my gosh, you guys, your brilliance, right, in the kitchen, and how we can really kind of hack our diet to and using that word lightly, hack what we eat, to bump it up, level it up, a bio or hack to level up our nutrition. These are things that we've loved having your tips over the year here in the couple of years we've worked together. These are so helpful for everybody to level up their nutritional intake, and we are having a stronger influence with everybody that we share this little information with. So feel free to share the video, and if you're watching the video, thank you for taking the time to watch it. Laura, thank you so much for taking this
um,
evening and
well,
sharing. Any parting words?
I love you guys.
We love you too. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time this evening. I'll get this recording up and posted so you guys can share it. And everybody loves you as well. Great tips. And we'll put something together again to have another session with Laura soon. We'll probably throw this around about once a quarter. Okay, sound good, guys? Some nutritional tips and hacks from this amazing woman with all of her expertise, especially in nutrition. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great evening. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording.